Yep. Call the meeting to order. Welcome. We'll start out with introductions. I'm Byron Chapman. I'm Mayor of the City of Middletown. I'm standing in for Mr. Barry Barker.
I'm Paul, KYBC District 5 office.
Bernie Bowling, City of St. Matthews.
Sherry Connor, City of Chaplain.
Matt Meunier, City of Jeffersontown.
Ida Colpick-Stark.
Brian Dixon, Clark County.
Dylan Fisher, Town of Clarksville.
Justin Tackett, Floyd County.
John Rosenbarger. Oh, sorry. John Rosenbarger, City of New Albany.
Jim Moody, INDOT.
Ashley Davidson, Kipta.
Stacy Burton, Kipta Ticket to Ride.
Dan Bauer, Kipstar Technologies.
Mindy Peterson, Riverlink.
David Burton with Kipton.
Mary Lou Hauber with Kipta.
Sarah Bear, Kipta.
Nick Bale, Kipton.
Amanda Dethridge with Kipta.
Andy Rush, Kipta.
Lori Kelsey, Kipta.
Nick Creevy, River Road. John Matilde, Michael Baker, International. Steve Miller, Congress from Guthrie's office. Tony Harbour, HMD Engineers.
Daniel Wood with Trimark. Sean Dykes with WSP Parks and Spectrum Hall. And Bob Stein with United Consulting.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Item number 2 is the approval of the May 26 meeting minutes. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additions or corrections? All in favor, aye? Aye. Motion carries. Item number 3, this is the public comment period. Anyone wish to address this board? Hearing no one, we move to item number 4, the public meeting report. Ashley Davison.
For the month of June so far, we've been to the Kentucky Association of Government Communicators Conference. That was actually in May on the 27th. On June 6th, we went to the One Southern Indiana Pearls of Wisdom Breakfast. And on June 9th, we went to the Bullitt County Chamber of Commerce Luncheon.
Any questions? Thank you so much for your report. Item number 5, Indiana dedicated funding. Mary Lou Harper.
That's me. Yes. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Indiana dedicated funds. For a couple of years now, we've had a 5-year plan showing how we will spend down the funds that are allocated to us through NDOT. Those are the STP Group 1 funds, the CMAQ funds, HSIP, and TAP funding. So we also, that 5-year plan also includes any of our unobligated prior year balance funds, which NDOT refers to as PYB funding. And these are the funds that we have carried over in the past in the tip from year to year. Now, NDOT's rule is if you program the funds, then you have to obligate those funds or lose them. On June 1st, we had a project review meeting to look at all the project schedules, make sure that everything is moving as it should be. There's a spreadsheet on the table. A spreadsheet was included in your packet, actually, that has all the projects on it, how much is programmed for those phases, and the years that they're programmed in. There were a few changes that we talked about at the meeting. One of the things to note is that NDOT shuts down their fiscal year in May. So fiscal year 2016 just ended, and all of the projects shown in 2016 we thought were obligated. But first of all, I'm going to talk about a couple of problems. A few months ago, there was a problem with the Clarksville Lewis and Clark Trail project. That is shown on page 2 of the spreadsheet, kind of in the middle. Lewis and Clark Trail, it's TAP funding, and we knew that the project was going to be delayed, and we were given special permission by NDOT to shift that funding from 2016 to 2017. So that has moved to, the construction there has moved to 2017. Then something else to mention is at the end of 2016, NDOT went ahead and obligated the funds for the Floyd County sign replacement project that was programmed in 2017. That is actually shown on page 3, I believe. On page 3, third one from the bottom. We had it programmed in 2017. The funds were available, and so NDOT went ahead and obligated it because they were ready to move forward with it. Then at the TTCC meeting, if you were here when we had this meeting, I reported that all of the funds that we programmed in 2016 were obligated. Well, since this meeting packet for TPC has been sent out to you, We've been notified by NDOT that the funds programmed for the construction of the New Albany Ohio River Greenway project were not obligated yet. There's been an issue with the local match on that project. The issue was with the local match being transferred from Friends of the Greenway to NDOT. And while the money was wired to NDOT several days prior to their deadline, the Indiana Treasurer's Office held the funds because they didn't know where they were supposed to go to. They didn't know they were supposed to go to the DOT office. So now NDOT says that they did not receive the funds in time and that the funds were not obligated by the end of the year deadline. But we're still in discussions on this matter, I think. Larry's been talking to Kathy McAuliffe, and I know John's been in discussions with John Rosenberger's been in discussions with different ones, and so I think that this matter hasn't been closed yet, but we'll see where that goes. But these are the only changes that I had to report on this from the meeting, and the remaining schedules and costs for 2017 and 2018 remain as they are. There weren't any changes to that.
Mary Lou, just
Yes.
one small thing to note, that NDOT did verify that they did receive, our benevolent people sent in 2 different checks, or wired 2 different
Right.
checks. They did receive the first one. Okay, for
That's true.
200.
You're right about that.
So the 289, which they knew was there, they said they did not receive.
Right, so yes, that is a good point. The match money was sent in 2 different,
Wires.
wired from 2 different banks, I guess.
Right.
And the first one went through without a hitch. The second one is the one that had the,
Hitch,
yeah, the hitch.
presumably.
Yeah, so, yes, so they did receive half of it on time, at least. Okay, really, those are the only changes that I had to talk about, and I'll answer any questions that you might have on this, and action.
Action is requested. Any questions? I need a motion to approve changes. Have a motion, second?
Second.
Have a motion, second? No other questions? All in favor, aye? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 6 is the Ohio River Bridges tolling. Mindy Peterson is going to be addressing the board on that. Mindy serves as spokesman for RiverLink of the tolling system for the Ohio River Bridges, and she also leads in media relations and public outreach. Mindy?
Thank you so much. And I'm going to apologize to the folks. I am old hat to some. I was in here in February talking to the KIPTA board. So how many listened to me then? I know there are some familiar faces. Okay. So the good news is there is new information to share with you. And what's even more important about being here now is we are truly just weeks away now from the start of operations. So this couldn't get more timely. Some of this I will go through very quickly just because I want to be very aware of when you need to wrap up your meetings. So some of it I'll blow through quickly, and I'll certainly try to leave some time for questions at the end. We all know about the Ohio River Bridges project. The good news is that things are going very well. We're right on schedule with both the downtown crossing and the east end crossing. That means that construction is more than 85% complete on both projects, which is terribly exciting. What's more exciting is that we'll have traffic on the 2 new bridges and the improved Kennedy by the end of the year. So we know how important it is for our region. We're talking about $87 billion impact over the next 30 years, supporting 15,000 jobs. It's a game changer for this region. This region is already incredibly desirable because of where it's located. By the time you add in a vastly improved transportation system, you're talking about tremendous opportunities on both sides of the river. Of course, the project is not possible, as we know, without tolling. The discussions had started decades ago. Do we build a bridge? Do we build 2 bridges? Will we ever build a bridge? And we wouldn't be to this point today without tolling. So that's where RiverLink comes in. It is all electronic tolling, which is going to be a new concept for this area, as is tolling. The last time we had tolling was 7 decades ago when tolls were lifted in 1946 on the Clark Memorial Bridge. The tolls were 35 cents to cross the Clark Memorial, which sounds like a bargain, but it's not in today's dollars. When you factor in inflation, that's $5. So keep that in mind. Tolling is going to start late this year. A lot of people have wanted a date. We don't have a magic date yet, but we know that tolling will start either when the East End Bridge is complete and open to traffic, or the improved Kennedy is completely open. That means carrying 6 lanes of southbound traffic, 6 lanes of northbound traffic on its neighbor with the Lincoln. That's when tolling will begin. So how does all electronic tolling work? Well, we have the gantries already up. You can see those right at the exit at Court Avenue. The gantries are going to be with the downtown crossing on the Indiana side of the project, with the East End crossing on the Kentucky side of the project. Those are overhead. The cameras are not installed yet, but if you have a transponder, there is a sensor, and it's going to tell us when you cross a bridge, and we'll base it on vehicle height, number of axles, and we will deduct that toll from your prepaid account. If you do not have a transponder, there are cameras that will take a picture of your license plate, and in that case, there are 2 options. You either have a registered license plate and a prepaid account, and we deduct that toll. It's a little bit higher because of higher administrative costs, or we'll send you a bill in the mail. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Those cameras, I've been asked, how good are they? And so I don't know if I shared this story last time, but there is a test track where they test these things. And there was a motorcycle clocking about 120 miles an hour, motorcycle, small plate, took a picture, crystal clear image, crystal clear. Cameras are good. Okay, this is a new piece since I was here in February. This was approved in May when we approved our business rules, and this tells you exactly what you're going to be paying. I don't think there are any surprises here because we've been seeing the toll rate chart for some time. What has been clarified and approved and is now set is the vehicle classification system. So the 2 states worked really hard on this piece because they wanted a vehicle classification system that 1, would work with the system, 2, meet the financial obligations of the project, and 3, be easy to understand. And we think we have checked all of those boxes. So when you talk about the rates that you're paying, passenger vehicles will be all 2-axle vehicles under 7.5 feet. That's your motorcycle, your cars, your SUV, most of your vans. Those are going to be the passenger vehicle rate. Medium vehicles, any 2-axle vehicle taller than 7.5 feet. So it's a height thing and number of axles, entirely based on that. All 3-axle vehicles, all 4-axle vehicles are medium as well. Weight does not matter. It's based on axles and height. 5 axles or more, you're in that large category. So it's important to look at these 3 columns here. You have your toll with a transponder. That middle column is a toll with a registered plate, and then your toll with the unregistered plate. So we're going to talk about those 3 scenarios, but keep in mind those dollar figures there. We're going to tell you how you get there. The first column is if you have a transponder. To have a transponder, you must have a prepaid account. That's the only way you can get a transponder is to set up your account. And a lot of people have been anxious to go ahead and get the ball rolling. When can you set that up? We say right here by late summer. Here we are toward the end of June. We are still on track with that. What does that mean? Within the next several weeks, we'll be having accounts beginning and operations beginning, and you will be able to set up your account. So that is in the very near future. Watch for that announcement very soon on when that's going to happen. So when you have the transponder, it's easier for us, and so it's cheaper for you. We know exactly when you pass through, and that's going to give you the lowest toll rate. Minimum balance for opening your account is $20. Okay, that second option confuses some folks. What exactly is a registered plate? A registered plate, again, you must have a prepaid account. These are folks who have opened a prepaid account for whatever reason. They do not want a transponder. So they are paying $1 more because we then have to go ahead and capture the license plate and deduct it from their account. It's registered, so it's not as hard to track them down, but it's higher because there's higher administrative costs. I don't foresee this being entirely popular if you're going to go to the trouble of opening a prepaid account. You might as well get the transponder. There's an option that's free, so I don't know why you wouldn't. Okay, that last column is for the folks who don't do anything. They don't get a transponder, they don't open a prepaid account. It's more difficult for us, it's going to cost more for you. So these are the people who we are photographing their license plate and they're receiving a bill in the mail. The other new piece is enforcement and penalties and fees, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. How do you get a transponder then? If you know the transponder is the key to the lowest toll rates, how do you get it? Well, you have to set up the prepaid account. When you do that, you can do it a few different ways. People have been very eager to find this out. You can go online. You don't have to do anything except go online. This is for individuals, not businesses. You can go online to riverlink.com and set up your personal account. The other option is you can call a customer service representative and set up your account that way. In either of those scenarios, we're going to drop the transponder, whether it's a Riverlink Local or a Riverlink Easy Pass, and send it to you in the mail. That's at no fee. You'll get it in the mail and you'll be ready to go. Other option is you can go in person. We'll have 2 customer service centers. Those will also open. this summer, late this summer. One will be in Jeffersonville, right there at Quartermaster Court, and the other one will be right across from Slugger Field on East Main Street in Louisville. So you have those 2 transponder options. How do you decide which one you want? I don't think I brought my props last time. This is your RiverLink local transponder. This is the size it's going to be. It sticks to your windshield. It does not move once it's there. If you do, you'll simply destroy it, and you don't want to do that because this one is free. We'll give you 1 free one per vehicle. If you try to pull it off, move it, destroy it, then you're going to pay $5. So we give you 1 free per registered vehicle. So your personal account can have up to 4 vehicles registered. That means for $20, you can register 4 vehicles for your household, and we'll send you up to 4 of these for free, 1 per vehicle. You cannot move this one around. Obviously, all of the fees, there's no difference between these. We've confused some people by having, these are both transponders. There's no difference. You get the same rate. You can qualify for the frequent user discount with either. Nothing magical. It's just what choice works best for you. You will get this one if you choose a RiverLink Local when you set up your account. So if you do that online, or if you do that by calling somebody, we'll drop it in the mail right away. If you go to a customer service center, you'll walk away with that day. Not the case with the RiverLink Easy Pass. This is the RiverLink Easy Pass transponder. It's a little bit bigger, has Velcro on the back, it goes right on your windshield. This one you can move around to the vehicles registered to your account. So you can't put it in your neighbor's vehicle unless your neighbor's on your account. Then you have to really like your neighbor because then you're paying all of their tolls. But you do have to have the person on your account. People have asked, can I have my mom on the account? She's elderly, she's across town, and I don't want her to fool with it. Absolutely. You can put anybody you want on your account. They don't have to live at your address, but you are taking responsibility for that vehicle. So if it's on your account, you're paying those tolls. So it better be somebody you like really well. And this is $15, okay? This works in all of the 16 Easy Pass states. I'm gonna show you those very shortly. $15 is lifetime. Lifetime for this is about 7 or 8 years. It does have a battery, that's how long it lasts. If it goes out on you before then, we'll send you a new one for free. If it goes out after the 7, 8 years, then you're gonna be responsible for $15. Now, a big difference here with the Easy Pass transponder. You will not get this right away. You can go ahead and set up your account, but you are not going to get this. You're not gonna walk away with it because we don't have all of the operations behind the scenes. You know, if you started using it, that would be going to the other states in the system. We're not ready for that yet. You will get this before tolling starts. You can go and set up your account when that process begins. We'll send you this in plenty of time, no problem, and you'll have it to be ready to go. So these are the 16 Easy Pass states. You can see it's primarily a Northeast regional thing. This is where your Easy Pass will work. So a lot of people have asked about the iPass in Illinois. Absolutely, that works. If you travel a lot to Chicago and you already have the iPass, you're good to go here. You don't need to do anything. Now, the only thing I'll add about that is if you have the iPass and if you're traveling back and forth enough to get that frequent user discount, it's not going to work. To get the frequent user discount, that is a RiverLink discount. You have to have one of the 2 RiverLink transponders to qualify for that frequent user discount, which we'll discuss a little bit more. But these are the states where it will work. You'll notice it does not include Florida. Florida is not an Easy Pass state. I'm sure many of you know there is a big push for system interoperability that's underway, so we will get there eventually. Right now, Florida is not compatible. You have 2 choices for an account. One is a personal account. When you have a personal account, it's based entirely on the number of vehicles. You can have up to 4 vehicles and qualify for a personal account. So you have a lot of cars in your household. You have 5, 6 cars, what do you do then? You don't want a commercial account. It's a higher for the amount of money you have to put in. Open 2 personal accounts, that's fine, it's not a problem. You just have to keep that in mind because it's truly based on number of vehicles. So if you have 5, 6, 7 vehicles in your household, open 2 personal accounts. Then you get the free RiverLink local transponder, 1 for each vehicle, or you can buy one of these. The other reason why people want to buy these is because you can move those around and you can combine trips. We'll talk about that with the frequent user discount. So that is an option with your personal account. What do you do with your account? Let's go back very quickly. How do you know when you need to put money in? You put 20 bucks in. Easiest thing, set up an automatic recharge. Tie it to a credit card, debit card, checking account if you feel comfortable with it. We do it with many other things, gym memberships, utility bills, house payments, all sorts of things. You set it up automatically. If you set up an automatic recharge, you control that. Say, every time I get to $10, put 20 in. Or every time I get to 10, I'm using it all the time, put 50. You can adjust that amount, you can change it, you can tweak it. You can go online, you can go on your phone, you'll see all of your activities. So you do control that. If you don't set up an automatic recharge for your account, we'll send you a low balance reminder. We'll do so either by text, email, or written reminder in the mail, and we'll let you know it's time to take care of that and put money in your account. A commercial account, big difference here. Instead of $20 to open an account, it's $20 minimum per vehicle. Everything again is prepaid. The other big difference, commercial accounts are a little more difficult. You have fleets that are very large. This is a brand new system. We want to make sure everybody gets it right. We want to walk them through the process. You are not going to be able to go online as a business initially and set up your commercial account. The thing that we're going to recommend is that you call 855-RIVLINK, that's our phone number, and we will connect you with a specialized customer service representative who will walk you right through the process. You can fax over your fleet information, they'll input it for you. It's going to be quick and easy, but that's important to keep in mind. Businesses are not going to be able to do that online. They can also go to a customer service center, but quite honestly, the most efficient thing for businesses is going to be to call the number and set up their account and talk to that specialized representative. That way they can easily manage their fleet and know exactly what they're doing. As we know, frequent user discount does not apply to businesses. However, we talked about that vehicle classification system. That system was devised with our businesses in mind. That medium category is incredibly broad. All of those 3 and 4 axle vehicles. We're keeping in mind those service-based trucks that are going back and forth, and that's why all of those 4 axle vehicles are medium category instead of large. Frequent user discount. It is not going to apply to a lot of people. It's a difficult number to reach. The reason why is we cannot give everybody a discount and meet the financial obligations of this project. If you have 40 crossings, that's 40 one-way trips on a tolled bridge in a calendar month, automatically you get a $40 credit on your bill. So that means the first month there is a higher investment, because at some point that month you will have had to have a total of $80 in your account to pay for your 40 trips, $2 each way, okay? So it doesn't have to be when you open your account, you don't have to put 80 in. But to get the frequent user discount, you also have to be in good standing. That's why the automatic recharge might be a very good idea for somebody who is going to be a frequent user. There will be months that you don't reach that number. If you don't reach that number, the next month you can. You don't have to do anything. There will be months where people have vacations. They won't qualify. We understand that. They can qualify the next month. And again, this applies only to drivers in passenger vehicles with personal accounts that have transponders. So people have asked, there are 3-day work weeks, there are 4-day work weeks, which we totally understand. It is a high number because the only reason why we have tolling is because we have to pay for this project. So the number right now is 40 crossings in a calendar month. So bills, very quickly, this is new information too. So what's going to happen when tolling begins late this year, we're going to have signage, and it's going to tell people before they ever get to the bridge, you're getting ready to cross a tolled bridge. This is your last chance to exit if you don't want to cross a tolled bridge. There will be more signing after they cross the bridge, and it will say you can go to riverlink.com, take care of your obligations, and people can do so. If they don't, they're going to get a bill sent to them. That first bill will be only for tolls. No fees added, no penalties added. It's just for the amount of tolls you owe. Okay, second bill, which goes out. If you haven't paid that, now you get a $5 fee because you didn't pay your first bill. So that's tacked on. Another 30 days passes and you don't pay again. Well, now you get a violation fee because you're in violation because you've had 2 different chances to pay. So $25 is added on. That's total bill that's added to. 3 months passes, you haven't done anything. Now you're going to be placed, handed over to collection, and you get a $30 collection fee. So you can see how that quickly adds up. If you've gone round trip one time, and then all of a sudden you have $30 after 3 months, plus the $30 another fees, that's $60 added, you gotta pay your bills. One of the reasons why we have fees, but in addition to the higher administrative costs, we wanna make sure everybody is paying his share. If you're crossing the bridge every day and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're paying your tolls, why would you want the person next to you not doing the same? So that's one of the reasons why that exists. In Kentucky and Indiana, if you do not pay your bill, and if you go to register your vehicle, there will be a hold on your registration until you get right with Riverlink. So that's another mechanism in place to make sure that everybody takes care of his or her share. That's in Kentucky and Indiana. So what about other states? We don't want anybody to have a free ride. So we are working right now on reciprocity agreements with other states. There are many, many states now that have tolling in place. It's in everybody's best interest that when drivers from one state or another are going through, that everybody is paying his share. So we're working on those agreements as we speak. So I've told you a lot of information. You know what the toll bridges will be. It will be the Lincoln, it's going to be the East End Bridge, it's going to be the Kennedy. People have asked, why are you tolling a bridge that's 52 years old? The Kennedy, if you've seen it lately, you know, is in the midst of major improvements. $22 million of improvements, brand new floor system. They're doing work now that is going to add at least 35 years of new life to this bridge that's 52 years old. Besides that, an entirely new approach is being built. It's getting ready, retrofitted to carry 6 lanes of southbound traffic. It really is a different bridge. Everything floor beams up has been replaced on the floor system of Kennedy there. So you can tell me I never ever want to cross a toll bridge. That's fine. You have options. You can go use Clark Memorial. You can use the Sherman Mitten. Those are not tolled. What's going to happen with traffic? Yes, we do expect more traffic on those bridges. However, that's expected. That diversion is expected to be short term, and it's not as great as you would think. Studies tell us there's going to be a new study this year, but the initial study from 2013 tells us that with tolls, Sherman Mitten is expected to see about a 14% increase in traffic. Clark, only about a 3% increase in traffic. And what we think is going to happen in very short order, you have nearly double capacity downtown, okay? You've gone from 7 lanes on the Kennedy to 12 between the two. You also have removed 35,000 plus drivers that now get to stay home, use the East End Bridge that always should have established that connection long ago. So they're removed from the equation. You've doubled capacity. Traffic is moving. It's very hard to understand that now because we're in year 3 of construction. When this system opens up, it's a completely different commute. It's a quality of life issue. Talking about people at the end of the day getting home earlier, being able to cook dinner, have it on the table sooner, being able to go to a soccer game, a baseball game, because they are not spending an hour sitting in traffic. So it's a game changer. So choices will have to be made. People will have to say, do I want to pay $4 round trip? Yeah, I think I do if I can get home 40 minutes earlier. So decisions will have to be made. Also, non-tolled options, TARP, Ticket to Ride. We're going to be hearing a little bit more about Ticket to Ride in just a little bit. Those are exempt. Also exempt, and this is something to pass along to your emergency responders. Emergency responders will be exempt. They will have to get transponders. Those will be at a 0 rate, but we'll have to log when they cross. So all of those emergency vehicles will need to get a transponder. So very quickly, what's going to be happening, we're going to continue to do the community outreach, talk to a lot of groups, get people ready. Matter of weeks away, we're going to start operations. You'll be able to set up your account, and those customer service centers will open, and then late this year, we have tolling begin. So we've covered a lot of territory. If there are a few questions, I'd be happy to answer those if there's time.
Questions?
Yes.
If you have an Easy Pass account, is it possible to transfer from one state to?
Yeah, so you should be able to, at any point, request your money, and you certainly can with our system. Folks have asked, what happens if I don't spend my money? If you never cross a toll bridge, you would have to go 300 days, not a single crossing. We would proactively reach out to you and say, your $20 is still there. Do you want it back? In which case you would say yes, and we would send it to you. Or you would say, no, leave it there. And we'll say, well, if you go 365 days, a full year, we'll start charging a maintenance fee every month, just like American Express would on a gift card. So we would first reach out and tell you, but you can pull that balance whenever. And if you do have an Easy Pass account from any other state, you're fine to use it. It absolutely works. But if you're going to qualify for the frequent user discount, you should transition, as you said, and get one of the accounts here. Yes?
What do you do when you sell your car?
All you have to do, if you have this one, it's very easy. You just remove it from your account. If you have this one, you peel it off, get rid of it, and tell us, I have a new car, here's the information, log on, put that vehicle on your account, we'll send you a new one for free. It is per vehicle that you register, so if you have a new one, and if you forget, you can go online and do that, but you certainly will, because if that car is driven by somebody else, we don't know that, so if it remained in your account, you would wind up being charged. So remove this, physically remove it, it's fine, you destroy it at that point because you don't need it. Yes?
Okay. When can the businesses, when will those places be open? They can physically go.
They can do that. It'll be the same day that we start operations that you can set up your account. So I'm anticipating, let's say, late July.
Okay, and what about the emergency responders?
They will also be able to start that process. And we'll be reaching out to emergency responders. The good news is there's lots of time. We're still several months away from the start of tolling. And quite honestly, we would recommend to businesses, instead of going in person, it's probably going to be a faster, better experience for them if they call. When they call, this is what you need to do when you open an account. You need vehicle make, model, color, license plate number, year. Well, wait, yeah. And that's what you need for each vehicle. So businesses could have a fleet of hundreds of vehicles. So what we will do is ask them to prepare just a nice clean sheet. It can be a spreadsheet, it doesn't have to be that formal. They could actually fax that over and they would have a specialized business representative who would input that information for them. You can give each vehicle a nickname if you want, something that you could keep up and track with it more easily. That will be an option as well. You would include that on that same spreadsheet, we would enter it for you.
What's that phone number that you gave earlier?
It's 1-855-RIV-LINK, RIVLINK. If you call now, you're going to get a very general recording, which is not going to be helpful to you at all. But when we start operations day one, that will be active.
Okay.
Mindy, I have a question about the revenue that will be generated in the system, if you can answer it. What is the estimated annual revenue to be generated by RiverLink, and what's the plan for spending that?
Absolutely.
Also, what is the estimated number of transponders that will be, let's say, registered in an initial phase of the project?
Absolutely, all good questions. Okay, so let's talk about revenue first. It's going to take us a few years to ramp up and get there, as with any new system. After just a few years, we are expecting revenue of around $100 million a year. So that revenue is split right down the middle. Half goes to Kentucky, half goes to Indiana. There are all sorts of requirements and stipulations. That money can only be used to meet the financial obligations of this project. So in Kentucky's case, paying toward the bonds, or for bridge maintenance. So it covers only this project. It's not used for other expenses at all.
Okay.
And then you asked about number of transponders. We don't have a guess yet, because it is a brand new system and because it has been 70 years since we've had tolling. What I anticipate is that this one is going to be much more popular than we anticipated originally, because as I've talked to many people, the thing that is desirable for them here, and we'll say it very, very quickly, if you're trying for the frequent user discount, it is 40 trips per transponder, not per account. So if you have this one, you can move it around. So you can try to target one for the most usage. Now, if you're going to do that, that's more than fine. But I say get enough for every driver in your household, because you're going to have driving schedules that are not always, you're going to be driving the same time your spouse is, a child is, and you don't want somebody to cross without their pass and then they're paying double. So if you have 3 drivers in the household and you want to get 3 of these, it's $15 per. Put an X, really put physically and mark the one that say every time we can, that we don't have a conflicting trip, we're going to use this one. And we're going to try to get to that 40 trips and we're going to try to get our $40 credit. That's more than fine. With this one, you can't move it around. So it would have to be $40 in 40 trips in one vehicle with this one in it.
Can I rephrase my question?
Yes.
What is the estimated number of daily trips on each bridge?
Oh, daily trips. I am so sorry.
That's
okay, that's all right. Right now, cross-river traffic is around 225,000. So about 125,000 of that was the Kennedy before the project started. About 25,000, give or take, was the Clark Memorial, around 75,000, the Sherman Minton. So when you have the East End Bridge open, it's expected to be about 38,000 drivers on the East End. And I would have to look up and see what that 65 number is. But it fluctuates, as I said. Sherman Minton picks up about 14 percentage points. So I would have to check and see where that weighs in number-wise. But that's where we are now. And so if you extrapolate out, which I don't have all of the numbers in front of me right now, but that's going to give you a very good idea of where we'll be.
Thank you.
Yes.
So does that mean I-65 traffic reduces from what it currently carries?
Yes, it should. It should, absolutely.
So that would be a speedway. I mean, 5 times the lanes.
Right. And the other game changer is, it would right now, especially when we're in construction and we have that big stretch that is whittled down to 2 lanes, okay, instead of 3. When we open that back up, we're now opening it up to 6 lanes until it, tapers down. So when you're on the bridge now and you have an accident, we know what happens. It stops traffic. It just stops it. It would really, with 6 lanes of traffic, have to be a pretty catastrophic accident to stop 6 lanes of traffic. So it should be a situation where there are a lot more options for drivers once it's open. Absolutely. And less traffic. You're right about that. Traffic count goes down on 65. Yes?
What's the admin cost of the $100 million?
Okay, so we have a company called Capsh Traffic Com that has a lot of experience with all electronic tolling. They are setting up our system and they are going to operate our system. So there is a contract between the two states and CAP. Right now that is a 7-year contract. There are milestone payments during setting up the system and getting that in place and ready to use. After that, the annual rate is about $4 million a year for the 7-year contract, and that's split between the two states, so $2 million per state.
No matter what volume?
It is not related to revenue. There are milestones that they have to meet and expectations that CAPS has to meet, but their payment is not tied at all to toll revenue, as if, you know, if they hit this number, they're not getting more money now.
Is it correct that east and west bound traffic on US Highway 42 will have to come back to I-71 to get to the tunnel?
You know what, I am not the east, my area is downtown crossing and Riverlink, but I've heard many people talk about that, so I believe that is correct. But
There's no on and off ramps at all at 42.
I believe that is correct.
Gotta go south and go back north, right?
I believe that is correct,
That is
yes.
correct.
Yes. Anybody else?
More questions?
Thank you for putting up with me again, I appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very much.
Item number 7, Ticket to Ride. Stacy.
Hello, thank you very much. Transition over. For those of you who may not, who don't know me, my name is Stacey Burton, and I am the program manager for Ticket to Ride. I'm here today to talk about some pretty exciting developments, or actually, Dan Bauer will be doing that later, but let me give you a little bit of an overview first. For those of you who don't know, Ticket to Ride is basically a transportation demand management program. We want to, and our goal is basically to reduce the overall demand on the roadways, and we try to do that for a variety of means. We offer carpool matching, we actually operate a van pool service, bike pool matching. We also encourage, scheduling options, work from home options, so on and so forth. And some folks may not be aware, our entire service region, basically if your work trip starts and or ends anywhere in the Kipton 9-county region, not just in the MPA, the Metropolitan Planning Area, but in our larger region, you are eligible for any of our services. Our goal is pretty simple. We just want you to either ride with other people, or not take the trip, or find another way to get there, like hike. Just some benefits, and I think all of you are probably, this is pretty self-explanatory. The more people that you can get riding together or riding their bike, air quality is going to improve. Congestion will lessen. This is actually the perfect segue after tolling. As Mindy mentioned, anybody in a van pool van will be exempt. Our van pool vans will be exempt from tolls because of our great partnership with TARC. So that's a plus for people who are, and we've had more contact lately with employers on both sides of the river, very concerned about their employees crossing the river and kind of that daily toll amount. Just to give you a little bit of background, we conducted a survey in 2010. It's about time to do that again, but that's just some statistics on our overall average van pool participant. 64% are college graduates. They typically are well paid, and you can save on average about $5,500 a year. That of course is contingent upon gas prices, but we really save the people who, we have 3 vans that go from Louisville to Toyota on a daily basis, Georgetown. They save a lot of money and a lot of wear and tear on their own vehicles. Perhaps even more important than that, especially for this group, our program, van pool alone, really reduces some of the wear and tear on our roadways. Reduces vehicle miles traveled, saves fuel, helps improve air quality. There are less pollutants put out because we've got more people riding together. Just some very basics. We currently have 78 van pools in operation. We've been talking to a number of people. We anticipate with gas prices kind of creeping up and with tolls starting very soon, We do imagine that the demand for the van pool portion of our program, as well as the other portions of our program, are going to increase perhaps dramatically. And the average fare right now ranges from around $40 to $200 per month. We do that real cost. We don't profit from that, of course. And then I'd like to introduce Mr. Dan Bauer, and he is from TripSpark Technologies. We've got some really exciting developments. We've been working with TripSpark for a while, but we've added this new component. And actually, Dan has been with us for the last day and a half, and I sprung this on him at the last minute, kind of jokingly, and he very graciously agreed. He's much better at knowing this than I am. So I'm going to turn it over to Dan to go through some of the improvements. This will be great for commuters looking for a different way to get to work, an option that we don't currently have now. Mr. Bauer?
Thank you, Stacy.
Certainly.
You'll have to forgive me, but I type better if I'm sitting down. What we're seeing here is what the public interface will look like. Now, this is something that, to this date, Ticket to Ride has never directly offered. That is an interactive website that individuals in the public can go to. They can directly register. They can search for better transportation options. If they might find a van pool, they can directly request to join right there. If you happen to be on a van pool route, you will actually be able to make your payment directly through the website on a monthly basis, etc. On the back end of things, there are a number of improvements that we have just installed that'll help Stacy and her staff to more efficiently operate. Better tracking for vehicle utilization, vehicle mileages, monitoring maintenance activities, and proactively predicting upcoming maintenance and sending out announcements to make sure that they get done on time, etc. What we're seeing here is what the public would see once you've registered and logged in. It is a mobile sensitive website. That is, if I brought it up on my mobile phone, it automatically rearranges itself to be appropriate for a smaller screen device. Various items that you can do. Over here you'll see Find a Ride. If I come along and select Carpool, it will search the entire database that is online, find various people that you might be able to carpool with. I could directly go along to, say, Find a Ride, take a look for a potential van pool route, find information about it. There's various items on there to consolidate information such as frequently addressed questions, etc. If I select Find a Van Pool Route, it takes a look at my profile, and in this case, it finds that based upon the origin of my commute trip, which happens to be right here, there's a van pool route that starts right there. Goes to downtown Louisville, not far from where I work, etc. I can see information about this van pool route, like who is the contact if I'd like to join. And right through the website, I could say, would you like to join this route if I confirm? That puts me on a wait list and sends an email automatically to the contact and to the appropriate person on Stacy's staff. And then they start getting the enrollment process initiated right there. All of these activities of like finding van pools, requesting to join, etc., etc. Right now it's a much more call up a person and work it out over the phone type of detail. All of those features are still supported for the folks that might either not have internet access or choose not to use it. So you can still call up a person and get the same level of service that you do now. But for all the people that would like to do it at 2 in the morning, or I prefer to use the technology at hand, this all provides this in a much more direct manner. For the folks that are signed up for one of the Ticket to Ride van pool routes, in this example I am, I can come directly to the website every month. I could see what my previous balance is, if I have one, what this month's charges would be. There's even an explanation of how the charges came to pass. Ticket to Ride's policies on fares are such that it's an entirely cost recovery concept. So not trying to make a profit, but not trying to lose any money either. So if you can think of this as a 100% cost recovery transit service, that is the way that Ticket to Ride is operated. And so it accommodates things like mileage expense for the use of the vehicle, the fuel expenses, administrative, insurance, etc., are all accommodated. It's then divided up by the individuals participating in that particular van pool route. And then the individual sees this is what you owe and this is how we calculated it. And so I can see here, I even have the option to, right through the website, make a secure payment. There is the concept, if you're familiar with the program that federal government employees are eligible for, that the federal government will contribute up to a certain amount every month to the cost of your transportation to work, so long as you're doing something better than driving alone. So you can use it to buy a bus pass, you can use it to pay your van pool fare. Should it be the case that your trip to work in a van pool by Ticket to Ride is greater than that allowed amount, then you'd use the entire subsidy from the federal government and then pay the difference out of your pocket. So for that reason, we accept more than one payment against any statement. But in this case, let's say I was making $100 against this secure payment. It goes to a online authorization service called authorize.net. It's one of the well-established secure payment facilities. Ticket to Ride accepts Visa, MasterCard, and Discover card. You come along, enter your credit card information securely, make the payment, it accrues right onto your account, and you're good for riding the next month.
And I would like to mention that some of the features that Dan showed you are open to a registered individual. If you just use the Find a Ride feature at the very top and you're not yet registered, it will show you what options are available, and that includes what carpool, what van pool, and what transit routes are available. In order to actually make the contact with somebody you might want to carpool with or van pool with, then you're going to actually have to register with our site. But it's kind of, we understand that some people may not want to register just to find that information out. We want to make that available to the general public so they have that knowledge, and then they will move forward with registration.
Right. And so in this example, I just said, I'm going from Lexington to Louisville, and all in one time it searched for carpools, van pools, public transit, and it did find 18 different carpool possibilities for me. Now, if I'm at this point registered, it tells me who they are. If I'm not registered, I can see that these people are out there, but to actually be able to see any contact details, to invite them to carpool, etc., I would need to register with the system.
Right. And then one of the other things that we'll be kicking off, we anticipate soft rollout of the system, testing with a couple of van pools taking place this upcoming month in July. We anticipate being ready for the hard rollout to the general public, we hope, in September. And at that time, we're also going to be offering or kicking off Your Commute Counts campaign through our service, whether you drive alone, whether you bike, whether you take transit, whether you van pool, or use some combination thereof to get around. You'll be able to log your commute on a calendar, and then we'll be offering monthly prizes. It's just one of those education and outreach tools that we'll be using to promote better commuting options and make people more mindful of their commute. It's kind of like your Humana benefit card, getting your 10,000 steps in a day. It basically works on those same principles. So if anybody has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them if we can.
Yes. How's carpool doing these days with cheap gas? I mean, is this more about van pooling or carpooling?
Right now, actually before this we don't have a lot of registered carpool users. They will find each other and contact each other, but your commute counts and logging, making you eligible for potential gift cards or whatever, we hope will drive up the number of people reporting that. So far, what we really have true data on, like the information on BMT reduced, all of that is based on our van pool information. Right now in our system, I think we only have one registered carpool, and that is me and my husband.
So you ride together.
Yeah.
There is an additional item to be monitored, and that's how many people are requesting carpool candidates.
Yes.
And there's no requirement that you register your carpool if you choose to join that, but you can at least measure how many people are asking about it to gain a sense.
Right. We have about over 700 people who participate in our van pool program, but we have about 2,800 registered match total. People looking for matches, just to give you an idea. So the difference of that are people looking for carpool matches.
Are employers plugged into this?
We have been working a lot with employers. We've added some great, actually, employers lately in partnership with TARC, because somebody moved from a very nice, developed, well-served transit location and didn't think about transportation until after the fact. So TARC was kind enough to suggest us as an alternative, and so we have just picked up Cook, which is now Johnson Controls, out in Preston. They used to be at 7th and Hill, great place for transit. Now they're out there. We have two van pools that operate for 2 of their shifts, and then the first one we were really able to offer, again, it was in partnership with TARC, was Hollander out here in the business park. So, and we have been talking more and more with employers. Right now, we're talking to somebody off of Old Henry Road. And we are plugged into all the Chamber of Commerce's, and we've been really kind of working that for the past couple of years. But I will say, with tolling becoming more present in people's minds, we're getting phone calls now like we've never had from employers concerned about their employees.
And we did have a dozen open houses, and you were at every single one.
Yes,
so.
yes.
I could see a heck of a market for low-income people, especially that are
Right.
card. I mean, they
For
don't have
those
2 or 3
jobs that
cars.
only pay, $12 an hour,
Yeah.
you can't expect them to absorb the cost of,
7,000 or 8,000 extra a
absolutely.
year. So
Right.
I'm thinking there should be maybe we can.
Anybody who calls you up, with a business or whatever, be sure to just send them my information. I'd be happy to talk with them. Absolutely. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Item number 8, fiscal year 2015 through 18, transportation improvement program. Mary Lou.
All right, thank you. This time I wanted to talk about administrative modifications to the Transportation Improvement Program. There is a memo on the table here and it has a spreadsheet behind it there. That's what I'm actually talking about. It's a 2-page spreadsheet. Administrative modifications are considered to be minor changes to the TIP or Transportation Improvement Program. They don't have to go through the full amendment process, which takes considerably longer. Most of the projects on here are Indiana projects. Just briefly, just going to explain what they are. There are a couple of the Indiana TAP projects on here. The bus stop access improvements on Spring Street in Jeffersonville. That project is a TAP project, and also on the bottom of the first page, the Market Street, Spring Street bike ped improvements. That's also usually using the TAP money. That's Transportation Alternatives Program funding. Those were previously chosen by the committee to use that funding, and now they're being added to the document, to the TIP document itself. Another project to mention is the Heavy Haul Road project on here. This project's already included in the TIP. We are just shifting some of the funding around and adding some additional funding. So they're basically just deleting some of the construction funding they had programmed in 2016 and then shifting a lot of different funding sources and adding quite a bit of funding there for that project. But it is already currently added to the TIP. Then there are a couple of bridge rehab projects, and then the Kentucky project that's there is the street rehabilitation project in Louisville Metro for the West End. This project is currently in the TIP. Basically what is happening here is we are just shifting some of the local match money. It is using SLO federal funds, but we are splitting out the match money. Let's see, first of all, it's using SLO funds for construction in the TIP in 2017. And we are taking some of the, I'm sorry, in 2016. And we are just taking the match money that was set up in the TIP currently for the construction funds and splitting that so that part of it is being used for design. And then part of it will be matching, will be also done with the construction funding, with the federal construction funding. So basically they're using some of the match money to get their design started. I might not be explaining that very well, and I apologize for that. I'll answer any questions that you have. These are minor changes and actions not required on these, but you can always contact me if you have questions later too.
Thank you so much, Brenda.
Where's that last one happening?
I'm sorry?
Where in West Louisville is that last one happening?
When is it happening?
Where?
Where? There are locations actually on here. It's actually quite lengthy. It says it's for...
Right. I didn't think I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I am so sorry. Yes, there are quite a few locations on there. If you...
Thank you.
You can always contact me after the meeting, or you can email me too. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. Item number 9, the project management process. David Burton, please. David?
Thanks, sir.
You got 5 minutes.
Well, since you brought that up, I'll just kind of go as long as I can. At your seat, underneath Mary Lou's memo, is agenda item 9, short memo from myself. As we first introduced, a long time ago, I don't remember when, we had some issues relative to some of the federal funds that have been dedicated to the KIPS Metropolitan Planning Organization. As you know, the TIP is basically the funding document for all federal funds that are used for transportation that come to our region. And the way we try to look at it is basically there are federal funds that are available statewide that the NDOT and KYTC are responsible for making sure those funds are used and implemented in an efficient, timely manner. And then there are those funds that are at the control of this body. And we refer to those as the dedicated funds that come to the KIP to MPO. And so it's this body's responsibility to make sure that those funds meet the goals and objectives that you've defined through our transportation planning process and make sure that those funds advance in a timely and efficient manner in order to make sure that the community receives the benefit that they expect and that you want to make sure that they receive in a reasonable time frame. What we discovered, Larry, Mary Lou, and myself and a couple of others, as you know, went back and started to look at the funding history, the implementation history, or the obligation. When we put projects into the TIP, we program them. When project sponsors advance those projects and start using those funds are obligated, which means they're made available to those project sponsors to actually begin work on those projects. What we discovered was that the KIPTA dedicated funds, those funds are at the control of this particular body, we were doing a great job programming, getting those projects into the TIP. But there was some difficulty with obligating. In other words, making those projects, helping those projects advance to where project sponsors could actually take advantage of the federal funds and complete the projects that were identified. So, was it back in August? Was it October? Somewhere, not too long ago. You know, I got too much stuff going on. But a long time ago, we came to this body and we said, we do have an issue. Because what's been happening is the federal funds that have been backing up because projects were not advancing in a timely manner. So we need to kind of put a hold on things. We need to put a freeze on those federal funds that are dedicated, and particularly those federal funds that are dedicated to the Kentucky side of the river. We refer to as SLO funds, those are STP urban funds that come available. We said we need to put a hold on this until we can figure out a solution to help those projects first meet the goals and objectives of this body, of the TPC, in advance in a more timely and efficient manner to make sure that the funds are coming to the area that we want to come to the area. So we put a hold on that, and you put a hold on being able to add new projects or to increase the cost of existing projects, which means that projects can continue to advance, but we cannot add new ones or increase the costs of the ones that are currently programmed. We then decided that we would meet with the we would ask the Transportation Policy Committee and the Transportation Technical Coordinating Committees for help, to work with KIPTA staff to define a process that would actually help meet the intent that the policy committee has for how those funds are used, and that those funds are obligated in a more timely fashion so that the community does realize the benefit of those funds through transportation projects and transportation improvements. So we had a meeting June 3rd, the first meeting of the Project Management Process Working Group. And that was about a 2.5-hour meeting, something along those lines, where we sort of brainstormed with this group. We had about 16 participants from the policy committee and the technical committee, project sponsors, mayors, sit down with us and say, okay, let's brainstorm. Let's really try to pinpoint or at least get started on trying to pinpoint what are the issues that we're dealing with. What are the reasons that some of these projects are not advancing as we had hoped they would? What about addressing directly the goals and objectives that this body has established? What's going on there? What are we doing? So we had a pretty good discussion. We had a round robin opportunity where people actually gave us ideas that we recorded, and it was I thought, a pretty good discussion. Since that time, KIPTA staff has taken those comments that we received from the June 3rd meeting and drafted a proposal as a starting point for a process that might help the policy committee reach its intended outcomes relative to addressing the goals and objectives and advancing things on a more efficient and timely manner. So we're meeting tomorrow. This project management process working group is meeting tomorrow at 1:30 in this room to begin the discussions of over that first draft that KIPTA staff sent out yesterday. Again, we're pretty excited about the way this is going. Everyone is thoroughly engaged in the process, and it's a very collaborative effort. And I think we're all listening as much as talking and trying to put together some good ideas that will help benefit how we can advance those federal funds that are dedicated to the Metropolitan Planning Organization. And our hope is there are about six funding categories that are dedicated to the KIPTA MPO, somewhere in that neighborhood, 6, 7. All of them are a little different. They have different requirements. But we are trying to establish a base scenario, a base process that we can tweak to help meet the various concerns and needs that you as project sponsors and as the TPC have to make sure that we meet all those needs and requirements. What have I missed? Anything? In front of you is a list of, I didn't provide you the entire list of points that were raised by the working group, but we did try to break them up or group them into certain areas, and it kind of goes over some of the areas that the working group raised, all the way from applying for federal funds, project selection, project cost management, things along those lines, coordination. We actually touched on several areas. Let's see, what else, Larry? Anything to add?
Not really. What we've done and what you've seen, hopefully, those members of the working group who received the email, we have produced a document. It's about a little over 20 pages that incorporates a lot of the things that we talked about. We've taken them out to a lot greater detail, obviously, but before the meeting tomorrow, please take a look at that, because we really need your input and your support as we move forward with this, because it's going to take every person in this room at some point to weigh in on this to make it work.
The end goal is to bring back to this committee a draft project management process that you will either adopt or not. If not, we'll go back and tweak it until we get something that you like. But once there's a project management process adopted, per the direction of this committee, the freeze that it's on, or the hold that's on the current SLO funding program will be lifted. Because we'll be able to begin managing the process a little bit better and hopefully be moving things on as they were intended.
Okay,
How was that?
that's good. Thank you, Dave. Any questions, David? When, schedule-wise?
Our hope was to bring this back to you guys in July, the July meeting, maybe August, but we're shooting for as quickly as possible.
Okay, good. Thank you. Item number 10, over business. Larry, we have a couple more items?
Yes, we have had 2 requests for this committee to provide letters of support for funding applications. Jeff, would you like to take care of the Metro?
Sure, thank you. If the committee would entertain us, Louisville Metro is applying for the federal government's ATC MTD grant, which is a grant that is funding intelligent transportation implementation. We are looking at this project to enhance the ITS capacity for the Dixie Highway project, and then also in conjunction with the new loop project. So we're seeing this as a continual rollout of our Metro's ITS capabilities, and so we're requesting this committee provide a letter of support supporting those efforts. The grant is due tomorrow.
Is there a particular dollar figure associated with the request?
There is, I believe the project, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but I believe it's the total project cost. The grant request for this is around $9 million.
Is it, what's the match on it? Is it 50-50 match?
50-50 match for this project.
And you hope to use some of the project dollars as match?
Yes, we are using, Metro has a little bit of ITS money that we are using. We are also using some of the state dollars that are committed to the Dixie Highway and the new loop projects as the match. It won't affect those projects, but we're demonstrating that those dollars are being used toward the match for this project. So.
This is for actual construction or to study it?
Actual construction for this. So the ITS components that are being rolled out on Dixie Highway, this would increase those and expand the network from just Dixie Highway to downtown to into the East Market Street area.
Sure, you're in favor of this? Since it's
Yeah,
your
do you
area.
want me to sign a letter?
Well, you be in the city out there, I'd rather have somebody that's in favor that's out there.
Any questions? What's your wishes? Do we have a motion to support the ITS project?
Sounds like Sherry just did.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion second. Any other discussion?
Who is the second? Sorry.
Mayor Durr.
Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Okay,
Larry, one of
and
them.
the second request is from the town of Clarksville. In the most recent legislative session in Indiana, a bill was passed to provide additional dollars to local governments, generally tied to maintenance type activities, resurfacing, signalization, things like that. That too is a 50-50 match. And it also involves, if you apply for it, you have to have a maintenance plan approved by NDOT before they'll consider giving you these dollars. And it is a grant program where you have to make application. The town of Clarksville is intending to resurface, restripe, and repave Veterans Parkway from Lewis and Clark to I-65, and the installation of a new traffic signal at Sam Gwynn and Veterans Parkway. And the total cost is $3.5 million. They're requesting $1 million. And they would like we'll be getting a lot of these in the not too distant future, because there's a pretty healthy pot of money that's available to the local governments now.
Okay, so this would be a motion to support.
A letter of support for their request.
For the request. Yes, sir.
That's so moved.
So moved. Do I have a second? Have a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. That motion
Thank
does
you.
carry. Is there any other business?
No, sir.
Item number 11, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies.